There are 16 stadiums hosting the 2026 World Cup, and almost none of them are allowed to use their real name. FIFA bans commercial stadium names during the tournament, so the stadium you've watched NFL games in, the one with a sponsor plastered across the front, this summer it goes by something completely different. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what every Western region stadium is actually called, and why some of them are hiding something even bigger than a name. We're doing 3 episodes for 3 regions. FIFA divided the 16 host cities into West, Central, and East. This is the West. 4 stadiums, 2 countries, 1 coastline from Vancouver all the way down to Los Angeles. Let's go. Vancouver, the northernmost city in this entire World Cup, and their stadium has a name you almost certainly know, BC Place. FIFA's version, Vancouver Stadium. 52,000 seats, right in the middle of downtown Vancouver, sitting on the waterfront of False Creek. On paper, it's one of the smaller venues in this tournament, but it has something most of the others don't. BC Place has a fully retractable roof. The stadium was originally built in 1983 as a fixed dome. Then in 2011, they tore out the old roof and installed a cable-supported fabric system that can open and close in about 20 minutes. The renovation cost over $500 million. The result is the only retractable roof stadium outside the United States in this entire tournament. A building that can host a World Cup match under the sky, or seal itself off completely if Vancouver decides to do what Vancouver sometimes does and rain. But here's what nobody talks about. Most of these 16 stadiums play on artificial turf year-round. FIFA doesn't allow that. They require natural grass. So 8 of the 16 venues ripped out their turf and installed temporary real grass specifically for this tournament. BC Place was one of them. That's not a minor detail. That's completely rebuilding the playing surface of a stadium. Weeks of work, thousands of square feet of turf gone, real grass laid down and grown in just for FIFA's 6-week visit. Vancouver is pulling it off, and the reward is hosting Canada's group stage matches, including Canada's final group stage game on June 24th, in front of their own fans, in their own city, in their first home World Cup in over 40 years. That building has some atmosphere this summer. Next stop is Seattle, and this one is less about the stadium and more about the people inside it. Seattle Stadium, you know it as Lumen Field, opened in 2002. Home of the Seahawks, but more relevant here, home of the Seattle Sounders, one of the most intense soccer fan bases in North America. 65,000 people, located in downtown Seattle, walking distance from Pike Place Market. And those 65,000 people do not sit quietly. The Sounders have won multiple MLS Cups. They travel in numbers. They show up with flags, drums, smoke, and organized supporter sections that most European clubs would recognize. That culture didn't appear because the World Cup came to Seattle. It was already there. The Sounders built it over 20 years. And when the US men's national team needs a home crowd, the way they did against Australia on June 19th, Lumen Field is the answer. An American crowd in a stadium already soaked in soccer culture, watching the US team in a home World Cup. Lumen Field is hosting 6 World Cup matches this summer. You want to know why the sport has grown in this country? Seattle is Exhibit A. They didn't need the World Cup to care about soccer. They already did. The World Cup just gave them a bigger stage. Like Vancouver, Lumen normally plays on artificial turf. Real grass went in before the first match. Alright, third stadium on the Western Tour is in the San Francisco Bay Area. Except, it's not. San Francisco Stadium. You know it as Levi's Stadium. Here's the thing, FIFA didn't advertise. Levi's Stadium is not in San Francisco, it's in Santa Clara. That's 43 miles south of the city it's being sold under. You're not in San Francisco, you're in Silicon Valley. Apple is down the road, so is Google, so is Meta. The San Francisco 49ers play here. They opened it in 2014. It hosted the Super Bowl in 2016 and again in 2026. 69,000 seats, outdoor, modern, clean. Everything you'd expect from a stadium surrounded by tech money. There is also a piece of history nearby that most people don't know. Stanford Stadium, just 13 miles from here, was the 1994 World Cup venue for this region. That building hosted 6 matches in 1994, including a quarterfinal. A World Cup came to this exact corner of California 32 years ago, in a stadium that's still standing. Levi Stadium wasn't built yet. The sport just came back to a neighborhood it already knew. But here's the stat that actually tells the story of this venue in this tournament. Levi's Stadium is the only venue in the United States that is not assigned a match beyond the round of 32. Every other American stadium is hosting at minimum a quarterfinal. Dallas has a semifinal, Los Angeles has a quarterfinal, even Boston and Kansas City have quarterfinals. San Francisco Stadium, 6 matches. Group stage plus 1 knockout round, and that's it. Again, for a Bay Area fan, 6 World Cup matches in your city is still incredible, but in a tournament where the biggest games go to the biggest venues, Levi Stadium found out where it ranked. And speaking of where the biggest games go, our final stop is the venue that has already hosted the United States' opening match, has a quarterfinal coming, and is already booked for the next Olympics. Los Angeles Stadium, you know it as SoFi Stadium, built in 2020, the youngest venue in this entire tournament, not just in the West, not just in America. Of all 16 stadiums across 3 countries, SoFi Stadium is the newest by years. It also cost approximately $5.5 billion to build. That is the most expensive stadium ever constructed. The Los Angeles Rams relocated from St. Louis in 2016 specifically to build this. 4 years of construction, a pandemic in the middle of it, and when it opened, nobody could come in. Its first NFL season was played in a completely empty building. The Rams and Chargers played in silence in the most expensive stadium ever built. Then the pandemic ended. People came back, and what they came back to was this: a translucent roof that lets in light without fully opening, a video board so massive it can be seen from aircraft overhead, 2 NFL teams sharing the same building in the second largest city in America. On June 12th, SoFi hosted the United States opening match of the tournament, the USMNT's first game of a home World Cup, in front of a packed American crowd in the newest building in the tournament. And the rest is still to come. SoFi is hosting 8 matches in total, including a quarterfinal. The knockout rounds haven't reached Los Angeles yet, but they will. After the World Cup in 2028, this building hosts the opening and closing ceremonies of the Los Angeles Olympics. The World Cup is essentially a dress rehearsal for one of the most watched events on Earth. This is what happens when a city decides to go all in. That's the Western region. 4 stadiums, 2 countries. Vancouver, a covered Canadian dome, retractable roof, giving a host nation its home crowd. Seattle, a soccer city that was ready before the World Cup ever arrived. San Francisco, the venue that found out it wasn't quite at the top table. And Los Angeles, the most expensive stadium ever built, the newest in the tournament, already looking ahead to 2028. The Central region is where this series gets serious. 6 stadiums, 3 of them in Mexico, including the only venue in the history of this sport to host 3 separate World Cups. We're talking about a stadium that was already old when Pelé played in it, a building that holds 87,000 people and sits 2 miles above sea level, and the venue that is hosting more matches than any other building on Earth this summer. That episode is next. If you want to see it the moment it drops, subscribe. It's free, and you won't have to go looking for it. We'll see you in the Central region.